There's not enough cans of raid to kill all these bugs. Let's talk about Tyranids. So some of the stuff I like in here, all the Carnivexes got better. You saw some of the stats they post on the GW's site. A lot of 2-up saves, extra wounds. They just look awesome. The Screamer Killer looks nuts with lots of attacks, bioplasma. I mean, it's one of those old versions of 40k. I don't know if you ever saw the metal ones who were played that way. I remember fighting them many times, like a big hunk of lead. But so that's kind of interesting on here. All the other card effects got better. Most of the other guns, I think the only one that took a hit was the Devourer stuff. Hive Tyrants look better. Like, I mean, like every big monster just looks better. The Hara specs is just ridiculous. I mean, just be thankful you can't take them in squadrons, because I think that might be an issue. But like, I mean, there's almost everything in this book feels good, feels interesting. Like the whole book. So I think the only one that kind of took a hit was Hive Guard, because they no longer shoot as well as they did. But you know, that was kind of a problem before, so they had to fix that. But everything else is awesome. Like all the guns are good. All the heavy venom cannons are like, it's just a murder machine. The coolest thing I found in this book, and the hyper adaptability of this army. So when you come to the table, you can choose to take away one of your hyper adaptations and switch it to something else based on whatever your high fleet is. And that is super amazing, because you can see like, oh, I need to ignore this one type of weapon, or I need to be better at assaulting you. So those kind of combos that you shift as you get to the table allow for something we haven't really seen a whole lot in 40k, where you know, you have this ability to really shift your army and shift your playstyle, which is one of those greater combos, you know, that you can kind of figure out stuff like additions to attack, or ignoring certain types of weapons, or being better at certain things. So it's kind of it's a neat thing. Like we've seen these adaptation or things that shift throughout the game, and having one where you just pick at the beginning and go is easier and just much more interesting. The other kind of funny combos, I mean, you're gonna see a lot of double heavy venom cannon hive tyrants walking around, and a bunch of double stranglehorn cannon hive tyrants, because you can double up the same kind of cannon on there, mix that with the hive tyrant guard, and you basically have this murder machine who's tough as crap, who's going to shoot you and hit you with such consistent shooting that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, there's so much good, solid damage here. It is kind of scary when you start looking at it. Also, the other things are the 2 flyers. I think the Harpy, and I forget what the other one name is, they're both really good too. And thank goodness you can only take 2 flyers, because oh, that would be a pain in the butt to deal with. But those are some, like, the kind of layering of combos, I mean, you can kind of do on here. The one combo they dropped was you can't really double move anymore, but you know, there's a lot of assault and charge, so it makes it all right. Some other fun big changes, like that, you know, they changed synapse. So kind of like how we had before, where we had kind of bubbles of synapse able to do abilities, they now have each synapse creature has a once a game ability to do something, and it will every synapse will now spread off of it. One of them is a 4-up save from Zonanthropes. Other ones give like relentless, or the old where they'll move and shoot, or you know, some things can advance and charge, or everything else like that. So it's really interesting that you have this army that has all these rules for adaptation, which is the kind of thing for Tyranids. Like, Tyranids are going to always be a problem in 40k, because they're going to come to your world, they're going to eat all your goodies, and then all of a sudden they sprout better weapons because they ate all your stuff. Like, you know, the big worry of one of the old Inquisitor stories is they shoved a Tyranid high fleet splinter into a world of orcs, and now they're bigger and tougher and stronger because they ate a whole bunch of orcs, which is super fluffy, super funny on it. So it's a really neat update to this book, and makes me feel like, you know, it's a whole lot more interesting, because you adapt, you evolve, you can change your playstyle while you get to the tabletop, which is you know, and it feels easier, right? You know, a lot of these other books have these shifting things that you have to pick and choose and everything else on there, and you got to be kind of keep up with it. And this one's like, no, I'm gonna make my decisions now and get ready to go. It's kind of like the old days where you could pick your spells in between stuff. This is what this book feels like, which is good. So it's going to be kind of it might be an easier book for people to pick up. I mean, Crusher Stampede was already a simpler army to run, and this continues that iteration, which is good because, I mean, you know, they're easy to paint, they're easy to build, and they're fun to build because they look cool. Like a bunch of plastic guys running around stomping on stuff. And who, you know, I love the idea of Carnifexes being good again, so I'm excited. I think I had one of my old armies was Nidzilla back in the day, and I have it somewhere in a box full of stuff. Maybe I bring that out and cringe at how bad the painting was and the basing was, but that's the kind of things, like it feels like a full kind of rework of that old Tyranid stuff by making them feel like an amoebic monster of death consuming your planet. They're going to be good. There's Crusher Stampede that already shows up. That's that White Dwarf Army Renown, and this book just makes that better. So if you had problems with that, it's going to get even worse with the new book, because all their weapons got better, all their shooting got better, things hit better, all their guns shoot better. Even the little piddly guns, if you see the little guys, all just hit better. Everything is just much more deadly. You know, damage is higher. I kind of like the fact that, you know, the heavy venom cannon is 4 damage. I mean, it's just a 4 damage gun. There is no rolling. You're just going to take it if it hits you. So they're going to be pretty rough. Depending on what we see with the balance will tell us if they're going to be the overlords. Everyone kind of thinks they're going to be, like, they seem rough to go into Harlequins. Yes, the Harlequins can kill them, but they seem very fast and board covering, and they're going to hit stuff like Stranglehold and everything else there that allows them to kind of push over the top. We'll see how they fare into Custodes and Tau as well, because those are the other kind of big bads. Custodes seem to be, do they roll lots of 4-ups, and then Tau, I think they're going to shift their damage profiles to basically do more damage to some of these big monsters. So it's going to be really interesting. Like, I think they seem really good. They seem really strong, and they feel like they will probably have to have a tone down with a quick release at some point to make sure they're not overrunning the table with their squadrons of monsters and flying things and giant beasts and stampeding all over your face. So the coolest thing, I think the more interesting thing, is that, you know, you have a bunch of different play styles with the books. Like, you can play the big stompy monster version, which of course I like, because I like, you know, I don't like small bases. You can also play the gribbly wave horror of Termagants, Hormagaunts, and everything else like that, because those all got better. You know, saw gargoyles became troops, which is really interesting, and their gun is pretty nutty with that strength 5 -1 AP gun. That is scary when you compare it to a bolter. You're like, oh, that gun is pretty rough. I mean, we're gonna see what they're gonna do to make Marines better, but it's just a scary, like I said, it's a scary book. Like, you have ways of building it. Do you want to run a psychic heavy force? You can. Do you want to run a, you know, crusher and monsters? You can. Do you want to run gribbly horrors that wave of monsters that run across there? I mean, you can too. Plus, I mean, who doesn't love, you know, making walking hive tyrants good? Because we've seen how many flying ones we have, and now we can actually see walking ones, which we need. The Swarm Lord took a hit, but we kind of expected it to. It needed it because it was too much of a linchpin, but he's still really good. And he'll probably still show up because he is a beast of a Swarm Lord, a beast of a Hive Tyrant running around there. He's going to Ginsu up stuff. I think I read or watched a bunch of heroes fighting, and that Swarm Lord is a beast to deal with because he's going to kill you with his flat 3 damage. I mean, heck, so much of the damage is just flat and simple, which I like because it makes it easier. There's nothing worse than rolling the lowest damage possible. It makes you feel so good for taking an expensive weapon, and removing it from the randomness to right in the middle or a little bit above the middle is better for me personally, and, you know, better to watch and look at. So I'm excited. It's exciting. I mean, like I said, I do have old big bugs, and maybe I'll bring them out and rework them and repaint them because you know, break off arms, because I mean, back in the days you have bits for everything everywhere, and it'd be kind of neat to have them again. But yeah, it's pretty neat, pretty cool, and be scared because we now have another book that's going to be rough in the tops of events. Hey, this is Goatboy from Bowls. If you want to click on more 4K content, click over here. Thanks for watching.